Hi there, welcome back. Today I'm talking with Instagram expert Molly Cahill, who works with acupuncturists and chiropractors to help them grow their practices using smart, effective Instagram strategies without burning out or dancing on camera. Molly shares a ton of practical tips to help you get more local followers, build your trust with your community, and convert those followers into patients. She shares what she calls the 4 pillars of growing a local practice on Instagram, the specific type of post you should do at least once per month, and her clever easy button strategy that helps small local businesses grow their reach quickly. If you've ever wondered whether going viral actually helps your practice or how to get the algorithm to show your posts to more people in your area, this episode is packed with answers. I hope you enjoy this episode with Molly. Today's episode is sponsored by Fair Wholesale. Increase your average visit income with beautiful retail products that are aligned with your values and your business without the upfront risk. Fair makes it easy to get started with over 100,000 independent brands and low or no order minimums. Even better, you get free returns for 60 days on the first order you place with any brand, so you can feel confident trying out new products. Try new items in your clinic, and if something doesn't sell, just send it back for a refund. Fair also offers 60-day payment terms with 0 interest, so you can stock your shelves now and pay later. Plus, you can filter by your values, like Black-owned, organic, handmade, or not sold on Amazon. The link is in the show notes. Go check out Fair to increase your income with curated retail offerings today. Hi, Molly. How are you today?
Hello, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Before we get started, why don't you take a moment to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so is this video too or just audio?
Yeah, I'd love to do video. I'll pop it on YouTube.
Yeah, no, it's great. I was just going to say for the people who can't see, I've got a Yorkie poo in my lap who's like staring at me longingly, like wanting me to throw his BALL. So I'm so happy to be here. My name's Molly Cahill and I work for the past 6 years. I've helped holistic health providers with their marketing, mainly Instagram. My whole like tagline is kind of basically I feel like so many times marketing, especially when you're like, I didn't go to school for all this. I didn't go to school. Like, I just want to go help people every day. I don't want to have to do the business side or the marketing side. I really hope that through my work, I get to transform that I should be posting on Instagram or I should be doing this into more of an I get to. And really leaning into your deep why and like why you need to, I don't like the word need, why you quote, want to be showing up and doing these things. So that's kind of one of the first things I can talk about, but is kind of one of my favorite exercises for transforming that should. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I have a fully booked Instagram management agency. We run about 30 Instagram accounts, my team and I do. So I say that to say, like right now we're full, we're not taking on any more clients, but the majority of our clients are chiropractors and acupuncturists. Actually, all of them are now, except for I have one ND. Sorry, the dog's barking at the mailman. And I say that to say a lot of the marketing advice that you see out there, Michelle, especially when it comes to Instagram, it's from like full-time content creators. Like their job is to pump out content for Instagram all day and like get sponsorships and like that's what they get paid for.
Right. And
you just can't translate that to what it is that you're doing, still trying to see patients and provide care and, have a life. And do the other thing. So we use our experience with our agency clients to inform what I'm teaching in my program called Holistic Marketing Hub, which is the best way to work with me now, where it's literally like I'm distilling down anything we would do for you as a client into this program. It also has like a really robust content library where you can kind of like copy and paste the content. So you're not having to think of it from scratch. And yeah, it's kind of like a full-time thing, just keeping that updated, right? Because I kind of try to keep it updated as Instagram and stuff changes.
Yeah.
But with that being said, even though Instagram does have a lot of changes and people talk a lot about trends and stuff, I really have kind of distilled all of the marketing down to like 4 main basics and main pillars. And that's what I was kind of hoping to talk about today.
Sure, yeah. I'd love to talk about that and what you mentioned earlier about transforming that I should be posting into I get to. I think that's really great perspective.
Okay. So let's take something like fertility acupuncture, for example. So there are still so many, as an acupuncturist, you're like, well, of course people know that you can acupuncture as a modality for fertility. No, they don't.
I was going to say, do they?
No, they don't. And maybe a lot of your people feel the same way. I don't know. When you're in that world all day, every day, sometimes I kind of forget what the general public doesn't know about holistic health solutions. And so just literally maybe about 6 months ago, my college best friend is on her trying to conceive journey. And I'm like, you really need to consider acupuncture. And she's like, what? She's like, "Honey, why would that help? I don't get it." And so I was like, well, here's my like layperson's explanation of how it works, and why it works. And so instead of, oh, I should post on Instagram today because I need to get more patients, it's like, hey, Allison in New Jersey is trying to conceive and she doesn't know that there's a solution for her. So I'm going to post today so that maybe she can get the help that she needs. And it
So good.
when you think of it that way, you're like, it's just the energy feels so different.
Yes.
My sister-in-law learned how to breastfeed my niece by watching reels on Instagram.
Wow.
True story.
Yeah.
So you're frozen.
Am I back?
You there?
Yeah. Oh, I'm still frozen. Oh, now you're frozen. You're back. Am I back?
You're back.
You were frozen for a bit. I was frozen.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi is good.
Yeah, I have an Ethernet cord. I don't know what that was about.
Wow, yours really should be good. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll just start over here. My sister-in-law actually learned how to breastfeed my niece by watching reels on Instagram. Isn't that great? So it's like when you think of things like that, you're like, wow, like so I specifically asked her before I gave this talk recently to a group of chiropractors. I was like, hey, who did you follow? And she gave me the account. She was a couple, but one of the main ones she learned from. I was like, imagine this creator. Her name's Latching with Grace. I'm like, Flashing with Grace wakes up and she's like, oh, I should post today. Or she's like, hey, there's a girl in Alabama who's pregnant who's trying to learn how to breastfeed and my video is going to help her. It's such a different feeling.
Yes.
So if you take nothing away from today's episode, hopefully that's one thing that you can start to kind of have that mindset shift right away.
Yeah. I love that perspective because I also think that the content that you create or the way that you show up when you have that energy shift, it makes a difference, right? For me, content I create when I feel tired and obligated, I personally can tell is not as inspired as when I'm really feeling like, how can I show up for my community? Or what's a conversation that I had with a marketing coaching client recently that I realize a lot of people need to hear this soundbite. I think it's very different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I said, that's kind of the first thing of my 4 pillars, like one of them is the mindset piece. And I hate saying that because people roll their eyes. They're like, oh, I don't want to hear any more about mindset. Just tell me what to do.
I get the same thing, but I honestly don't think that you can be a business owner and pretend that your mindset doesn't matter.
No.
Because you are constantly challenged, right? I always joke that like being an entrepreneur is going to force you to get to know yourself and to face all of your like boundary issues and the things that you don't want to work on, and figuring out what to do about it will really impact how you grow your business.
100%.
So it's wild to me when when they say things like, oh yeah, mindset, like I've heard it all before. I'm like, okay, I'm glad you've heard it. Like, how are you processing it? What are you doing with it?
Well, yeah, because the other big mindset piece in my mind is belief. I run into a lot of practitioners who you could just tell either maybe they're just burnt out or whatever, but I'm like, do you even believe in what it is that you're doing on a daily basis and the transformation that you're providing? Because if you don't buy my program. Like, you need to go back a step.
Yeah.
You need to go work with a coach or a therapist or someone because if you don't truly believe in what it is that you're doing on a daily basis, like no amount of marketing hacks are going to make any difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I find that especially with like brand new grads who are very new, maybe they just haven't been out in what I like to call the real world, which is maybe unfair, but they haven't been out there practicing enough to have the confidence to see, like, okay, I wasn't sure what to do with this fertility patient, but I went through all my textbooks and then I did my best. and it worked, right? So they just haven't had enough time for that to accumulate. Yeah, I do feel like they're so reluctant to be visible or to say anything because they are kind of worried, like, is it gonna work? Can I do this now that I'm by myself? It's like a scary brand new world. But yeah, I agree with you. It's almost impossible to sell anything if you really don't think, if you're not behind it. And people also really don't like when I say that we're selling acupuncture. But I feel like we're small business owners, right? Like literally, I have to sell something to make money to run this business.
Of course you're selling acupuncture.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you're selling the end result, right? Like
Sure.
meeting people where they are, which actually, if I may, like that actually is a perfect seg into the second pillar. So the first is mindset. And like I said, under mindset, I always talk about the like changing the should to a why. Like I said, also changing the thought that you're not a full-time content creator. Like you don't need, you're going to have, one thing I didn't say on the mindset piece, I don't want to forget, you're not going to have the same results where you're getting like hundreds and hundreds of comments. It doesn't matter. You don't need that. You're going to have so many silent lurkers, especially with the more sensitive topics like fertility. Like people aren't going to be commenting like, yeah, like this is, you're going to have so many silent lurkers who are watching you with this content, even though it feels like they're not. So I always tell people like, oh, you got 20 likes and you're like, oh, I only got 20. I'm like, okay, put 20 people in your lobby. What does that feel like? That's a lot of people. So that's the other piece of the mindset. It's like, you're not this full-time content creator. It's okay to feel like, is anybody listening? Is anybody seeing this? Because they're watching. And then, like I said, the third piece is the believing in what it is that you do. But the next part, when you said selling acupuncture, it made me think of like I said, the second pillar I always talk about is your messaging. And I know this is something you talk about a lot too. And I think it's so easy to kind of get in this like vitalistic, I provide health. I help you, balance your chi, all this. It's like, yeah, nobody wakes up like thinking about any of those things. They wake up thinking, oh, I'm so bloated, or, oh, I have a migraine, or, oh, I don't have enough energy to get through the day. So when it comes to your messaging, you've got to really, that's what your marketing has to say. It doesn't say like, hey, do you feel like your chi needs to be realigned? It's like, well, not that I've seen anybody saying. I'm just, I'm not an acupuncturist, clearly. So, I'm probably not speaking about it correctly, but, I see this a lot where people really just kind of want to talk about health and wellness in these really nebulous, like general terms. They're like, well, I don't want to be chasing symptoms with my patients. And I'm like, I get that. But also that's kind of like meeting people where they are. And maybe it's more prominent in the chiropractic world than it is in acupuncture.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever had anyone tell me that specifically, that they don't want to be chasing symptoms, but I think that they feel that way. Maybe they're just not like putting it together quite like that. But I think it's essential. I always feel like patients need to see themselves reflected in our marketing so they know that they're in the right place. And if we don't talk about them, then how will they know?
Yeah. And what you'll find if you're someone who's like, ever scrolling Instagram or whatever, pay attention. One of the best exercises you can do, pay attention to what catches your eye. And it's probably something super specific. Like, I came across this reel. It's like, it was something very, like, instead of being like a gut health coach, she was literally a constipation coach, like so specific. And your marketing has to be that specific. So like when it comes to, instead of saying like, hey, acupuncture can help you with your gut health, it really needs to be even more specific than that. Like, oh, if you're having acid reflux and, having this and that, like that's the things that people I always say, what are they Googling? Well, like, what are they actually thinking about? That's where you have to meet them where they are in your marketing messaging. And you think that when you get so laser specific that it's going to alienate a whole lot of people, but it actually does the complete opposite. People can make that leap. People can be like, oh, I see she's talking about acid reflux. I bet she could also help me with, whatever. Like they make
IBS,
they make that leap themselves, but it also just makes you so much more magnetic where people are like raising their hand. You'd be like, Michelle's talking to me. Yes.
Yeah. What is that phrase in marketing? If you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You are singing my song.
Yeah. Well, even like skin, like having issues with your skin, like even that's not specific enough. Like I just started doing cosmetic acupuncture not too long ago. Yes, I love it. The only thing I don't love is I have a hard time laying there that long because it's so much longer than body.
Interesting.
So many needles in my face.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, okay, my neck is stiff. I need to move.
Oh, yeah.
But the results were like bananas. Like, I need to go back. I did it a couple times. Yeah, if you can be really specific, like, have you thought about this? And another thing on just a pro tip for Instagram that a lot of people don't know that has changed recently is Instagram is highly, highly keyworded now. So have you noticed when you are watching a reel now that there will be a little, like one of those magnifying glass bubbles, and then it'll give you like a topic. So
Oh.
it almost like knows what it's about. So for example, think about instead of, do you have you ever taught on like the levels of awareness? Are you familiar with like the different levels of awareness? Does that sound
Only really
familiar?
vaguely, I think. Like I couldn't teach it.
You can just like Google I can't talk. Google levels of awareness in marketing.
Okay.
One thing I noticed is that we were mostly in our agency clients marketing to people who were solution aware, which means
Okay.
they knew acupuncture was a solution for, let's say, acne. Okay. Where if you go back a step, there's a whole huge slew of people that are problem aware, but not solution aware.
Gotcha.
This means they know that they have acne and they know that they want a natural solution, but they don't know what it is. So that messaging looks a little bit different because you're saying like, maybe the text on your reel is something like, I wish more people knew about this natural solution to their acne or something like that. And then that gives the algorithm clues to show that content to the people who are actively searching for
Love it.
natural solutions for acne versus just they already know about acupuncture, right? So you're going to catch so many more people that way. And I use this example. My family and I just got back from Disney World, and I was searching specific parks. Like we had never been to Hollywood Studios. And so I was like on Instagram, literally typing in Hollywood Studios. And by the next day, my Explore feed and my feed was full of Hollywood Studios videos. So the algorithm is smart and it knows when people are searching for solutions to their acne. And now you get to serve up, your content gets to be one of the things that gets served up to them because it's matching it's kind of like search intent with Google.
Yeah, I was going to say, so is Instagram trending towards becoming more of a search engine like YouTube
Yes.
or Pinterest? Gotcha.
Yep.
It's almost like they didn't have a choice, right?
I don't think they did. So a lot of people ask me about hashtags, and you'll see a lot of like grandiose, like hashtags are dead. Hashtags are not dead. They just are being used in a different way. So
Yeah.
really, I think hashtags could probably go away and nobody would make notice because you used to be able to follow hashtags on Instagram, so you could like follow whatever, like natural parenting, whatever. Now you can't follow hashtags anymore. And we used to see with our clients, we could actually see the data before reels were a thing. We could see, wow, this hashtag got this post 300 extra views. Well, now that's not a thing. And
Gotcha.
there is no hashtag data for reels. There still is on posts, but there's not on reels, which I don't understand why. I know it doesn't make any sense. A lot of the things they do don't make sense.
Right, that's true. I mean, it's really whatever they feel like this
Yeah,
month.
I know. I'm like, they're like,
Fine.
oh, this new feature. I'm like, no one asked for that, but okay.
Thank you so much for saying that.
I'm like,
I
who
feel
asked
that
for
way.
this feature? Literally no one.
I don't want to learn anything else right now.
I always tell my followers, I'm like, look, if you're following me for like the latest, like, oh, this is what I'm like, I'm not the right person. Okay. Like
Same.
I'll sit on a new feature for like 6 months and then I'm like, okay, cool. This is worth teaching you about. Because most of the
Right.
time they just go away. Like they'll roll something
Yeah.
out and then it goes away. But the keyword thing is definitely here to stay. So let me just put this, I like practical things that your audience can do with this keyword feature. So now hashtags are almost doubling as keywords. So you want to make sure that you are using as many local hashtags to your area as possible. As many you can pull from your surrounding, like even the city, like even like, let's say you're in like Raleigh, North Carolina, like hashtag Raleigh acupuncturist, like that actual hashtag will probably have like very few uses, but that's okay because your hashtags and your keywords are a Google map to the algorithm. It's like, hey, algorithm, here's what this post is about. Here's what this reel is about. It's like you're giving it instructions of who to deliver it to.
Super.
So before, when we were writing captions, we would used to say, and I was just talking about hashtags, so let me talk a little bit more about keywords. Before, we would say like, at our clinic, we can help you with, fertility. That's very basic. That's not how we would say it, but you get what I'm saying. Now we would say at our specialized fertility acupuncture clinic in Raleigh, North Carolina, we help patients trying to conceive with, think about it as many keywords as you can put in the caption.
So this is for a caption. This isn't the bio, and it's
Well, I
not
can talk
on
about that
screen
too.
in a reel.
So I'm glad you asked this. The algorithm can also read text, whether it's a Canva graphic like carousel or it's the text over your reel video. That text is also readable by their
That's wild.
keywords. So we've even on reels for clients put the city and state on the reel. We've helped hundreds of patients in Sioux Falls, South Dakota with their acne. Let us, that's literally the text on the screen. No, you're not going to go viral that way because you're being so specific. You're telling the algorithm well, I don't need a patient if I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, I don't need a patient in Wichita, Kansas. You know what I mean? I don't know if you have many people who have online offers. I think that's a different story if you have an online offer. But for brick and mortar, right? You just need people in your area. So
Probably
yes.
the number one question that people ask me about Instagram is how do I get local patients or how do I get local followers to start with, right? And, everyone is so concerned with going viral. I feel like what is the point of going viral with 1 million people who will never become your patients?
So we've had it happen where we had a client actually in Raleigh go viral and she texted me. She's like, oh my gosh, our phone's been ringing off the hook.
Okay.
So, but then she went viral again. Mm-hmm. And it skewed her followers to where they're all in Mumbai.
Okay.
So I'm like, it can go one, it can. It's not necessarily a bad thing to go viral, but it just kind of, I think, depends on the content because the one that did go viral the second time that got a lot of the followers in Mumbai was a diaper changing video. It was here's, instead of lifting one of your baby's legs, lift both because of their spine,
Yeah.
And it also got a lot of hate because people are like, well, you've clearly never changed a real human's diaper because it's really hard because they're, wiggling, And she's like, well, yeah, you know what I mean? The haters are always going to come out, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's not always a bad thing. It can be good to go viral, but yeah, you're right. It's really mostly kind of that slow and steady strategic local growth. But I'd love to talk more about how to get more local followers if you want me to go there.
Sure, yeah.
So the hashtags and keywords is the one thing I said. So on every post, you should be using your location. And people ask me a lot, well, I'm in a really small town. What should I talk about my small town or should I talk about the bigger area? That you will know. You will know. Some of our clients in really small towns use the county because the county is Butler County. It's more people say that versus your local colloquial. I can't say it.
Yeah.
You know what people refer to your area as. So that's what you want to use. The other thing is, and this is actually so funny, leads into my pillar 3, which is networking and community building. And on our highest level of service in our agency, and I teach this completely inside of Holistic Marketing Hub as well, is this is a huge, literally no one is doing this. And it's so easy. It's just an easy button. And anytime I'm auditing someone's Instagram account, I'm like, are you doing this? And they're like, no. It's engaging and commenting on local businesses in your area. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
So there's 2 ways that I have people do this. One, we have people, you can either look at your electronic medical records or you can look at, just off the top of your head, brain dump a list of common colleagues that refer you business. So is there a IVF clinic? Is there a midwife? Is there a whatever? I keep going on the fertility train just because it's easy to think of examples. And that's going to be one set of people. And then think of people who have nothing to do with acupuncture or whatever, like your favorite coffee shop, boutique, photographer, realtor, any small I love engaging with, you're in a smaller town, right? Mm-hmm. For me, I'm in Cincinnati and there's all kinds of Cincinnati, things to do around Cincinnati Instagram accounts,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
What's your next biggest city?
Oh, gosh, Auburn is nearby. Geneva, probably.
Yeah. So I'm sure there are Auburn and Geneva, I don't want to say bloggers, but you know what I mean? People who do things to do in Geneva.
Yep.
Think about Chamber of Commerce accounts, local, like I said, just city. A lot of the cities will have their own Instagram accounts. And so those are the things that you want to be, just like leaving a thoughtful comment on one of their posts and then sharing their posts to your stories. And if you do that and tag them, a lot of times if they see it, they'll reshare it. So it's like then you're getting exposure that way. And it's like you're supporting your local community. And so it's just like networking in real life. It's not different. People got this social media thing and they're like, oh, this is like a different thing. I'm like, no, it's just still basic marketing. Like there's literally nothing different. Like instead of like taking them a plant and your business card, you're like networking with them this way. And then the last thing with that is collaboration posts on Instagram. I'm sure you're familiar with that feature. I don't know if you've talked about it ever on the...
I don't think we've talked about it here. Yeah.
So we try to do these at least once a month, if not twice a month for our clients, where we will do a couple different ways. One way we've done it is, and obviously it depends on how big of an area you're in, right? So our clients in bigger cities will do like a whole carousel just devoted to lactation consultants that they like or something. You know what I mean? Like, because there's that many to choose from. But if you're in a smaller town, you could just do like trusted natural health providers in my area.
Yeah.
And then you add, and you don't just tag them. There's an extra step that's, you go like you're going to tag them, but then you put add collaborator. And that gives them the ability to then accept that, and it lives on their feed too. So it's like, we've done one with like pelvic floor physical therapist one time, and all 5 people we tag, you can have up to 5 collaborators. All 5 accepted it. So now this post is living on 5 other Instagram pages.
Amazing.
And drawing traffic back to our client, right? Who's local. But you don't have to, like I said, it doesn't have to be colleagues. We've done it. I have a local chiropractor client actually down the hill, so it makes it easier for me because I know the local businesses. We'll do like a standalone post about their coffee shop, that's this locally owned coffee shop, and add them as a collaborator, and then they share it to their we have a local theme park that everybody goes to. And we've done like remix reels, like, okay, if you've been on this roller coaster this summer, like it's time to come in for an adjustment.
Haha, that's fun.
Yeah, so just bringing in that local feel.
Yeah.
We've done things like, if you're having trouble hiking the XYZ trail, like something local to you, like we'll literally put that text over the reel. If you're having trouble hiking the XYZ trail because of your knee pain, like come in to see us. Like,
I love it.
And because it just makes it so like, oh, she's in my area, she's in my town, she gets it.
So smart. And I really think it helps make your business human, right? Yeah. Like there's like a location and a personality and a person behind this brand. It's not just like this amorphous Instagram account that's not anchored anywhere. It's really nice. It's so funny that you bring this up because local, it's like a reuse shop and like low waste shop.
Yes.
So clever. Nearby, she was doing on her stories, she was tagging all of her favorite, I think it was like local skincare people. And she tagged my business because we do a lot of cosmetic acupuncture. So she's like giving herself a little mud mask and she's just riffing on these places locally that she likes. And she tags you. Of course, like immediately put it on my stories because she was endorsing us. And all I could think of was, how smart is this woman? Because she knew that we're all going to do this. And now she's in front of my audience. And what I like to do is not just reshare on my story, but then I grabbed one of her posts and shared it to my story and kind of explained like, who is this person? Like, oh, if you're not already following Marilla's Geneva, this is what she does, and let's save the planet together.
I love it.
Right? And so I think those kind of collaborations they make me feel warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
I think they work, and I like them a lot for
Well, you know that your
building
patients
community.
ask you for other like your patients look to you as like a trusted source for a lot of things. And so this makes your account more than just an acupuncture account, more than just like, it's like, oh, she's a staple in this community. Like
that's nice.
Is going to be how this all came about was I first started my course in 2020 and I was like, hey, y'all should be sharing, because remember, isn't it so funny? Curbside was like not a thing. Like, everybody has curbside. So I'm like, guys, y'all should all be sharing who's doing curbside takeout and curbside, because then you become like, people come to your account for other reasons. Like they are actively seeking you out, right?
And they're local.
Yes.
They're local people.
Yes. So yeah, that's kind of how that all came to be, is like, then you become this little like resource, right? For people in
Yeah.
your community. And you'll love this. One of my favorite ways to get so one of the biggest things people overlook, I literally just filmed a reel about it this morning. I have to edit it and post it. One of the biggest things people overlook is having their current patients or clients follow them. They think new. Instagram's just for new. No. If you can get your current people following and engaging, game changer for two reasons. One, talk about how do I get more local followers? Well, that tells the algorithm, oh, more people like this. A, and B, it's social proof. So I was looking to buy these, like, even with acupuncture and all the things I've been doing. I've been running a little too hard, so I'm going to slow down, but I was having trouble sleeping. And I was like, whatever, my friend was like, try these sleep gummies. And I was like, okay. So I was like looking at it, and then I was getting all these ads for different like sleep gum. The algorithm quickly was like,
Yes.
sleep gummies is what she's searching for. So I had a specific brand in my cart, like ready to check out. And I was like, let me just go to their Instagram page and check out some organic comments. They hadn't posted in 2 years. So then I was like, wait, do I want to give them my money? Are they still in business? Like, I know they're running these ads, but it felt like a disconnect to me. And their most recent post had hundreds of comments of other people saying the same thing. They were like, are you guys still in business? So my point is, when you can get your current patients or clients engaging with your content, if someone's just kind of been waiting in the wings, silently lurking, they're still like, wait, needles, like, I don't know, like, I'm not sure. And they come to your page and they can just see one comment from a current patient saying something on one of your posts, like, oh my gosh, I used to have 4 migraine days a month, and now I maybe get 1 a quarter. Like, that's like, I'm booking my appointment.
Yeah. I also feel like now that you've mentioned this, which I don't know if I've ever processed it before, but the followers who are already patients are the ones who are the most engaged, especially with stories. I don't know if that's just particular to my patients, but if I post a little video of the reception area, like in the sunshine or like the plants, it's the current patients who start the engagement and say something like, I love that place, or it's so pretty in the sunshine, or that's my favorite plant, whatever. And then that shows to the algorithm, right, that people are engaging, people like this, and it's going to show it to more people. So what a great idea. Do you then recommend, like, we should email our patient list?
Yes, I got excited and kind of but like, I actually have some email templates. I don't know if that's okay I know you're like,
yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I think the link is just mollycahill.com/email, but I'm not sure. But I have an email template that you can use with some examples that we've also sent that you can literally just send to your whole patient database and be like, hey, did you know we're over on Instagram? And then we usually give them a reason, right? Sometimes we'll link back to a really specific reel. So like for one client, the subject line, we put Dr. Davis is going viral rather than like, follow us on Instagram.
Right.
Because people like probably won't open that. But it said like Dr. Davis is going viral. And so like people opened it and, we showed the reel. We've done subject lines like come weigh in on this hot topic. And it was like crunchy mom things that I choose not to care about, like, and so like, then we linked back to like a specific reel, which you don't have to do that, but I have like some scripts to show you, like, and it's not a one and done thing, right? People are like, well, I sent the email. I'm like, okay, well, send it again.
Isn't that how they feel about email in general? They're like, I sent an email in 2019. You need me to send another one? I'm like, I do. I really need you to send more than one.
Well, that'd be like your patient being like, okay, I got 1 treatment and I still have acne.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, really, you think? Yeah. So like, just to kind of wrap all this up, put a bow on it, my last pillar is consistency. Beautiful. And I don't know how you feel about this. I am like the delegation. So if I had to teach something other than Instagram marketing, I would teach outsourcing and delegating your life. Like, this is my zone of genius. Because typically so now I get a lot of students in my program who are newer in practice and they have more time than money, right? So if you've got more time than money, learn it yourself. Like, learn how to do it, upskill, you can do it. But if you're more established and you've got less time but more money, there's absolutely no reason that you should be doing your social media all by yourself. It's just silly. Like, if it's one of those things that keeps getting put on your to-do list and then getting moved and moved and moved and moved, that is your sign. And it doesn't have to be an agency like what I do. It could literally, a majority of my recent students have been people who, would you say a lot of your people have like a front desk or receptionist, or are they kind of solo? or mixed?
I think most are solo, but they're willing to do like a part-time virtual assistant.
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, hire a patient you love or your niece or find someone. I like to have somebody local because then they can come in and film videos for you.
Yes, so smart.
Yeah. But literally you can just put them through a program like mine. Literally the first lesson is how to outsource this program to someone else. Like, here's the
That's
example. Here's a
amazing.
sample pay rate. Here's a sample job description.
Yeah.
Here are daily, weekly, and monthly deliverables for this person. And it's not as expensive as you think.
Yeah.
When I go film for our local client, I can usually film for 1 hour and we have enough videos for like 3 or 4 months.
I bet, yeah. You know, I was just thinking like I do a trade with a patient and she does all the laundry for the clinic. She's like the most reliable person on earth.
Yes.
And I was like, how did it never occur to me to do a trade with someone at least for like B-roll content?
Yes.
Right? Because it's just one more thing on my to-do list, but this person could certainly come in and take video of the office, or like my family is in for treatment all the time, and so I don't make them sign a release form to be in my social media or anything like that. So it would just be super easy to have them come.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'd probably be more organized with their videos instead of me scrolling through 1,000 cat photos. To find, like, where is that B-roll from the office?
I know. I
Right.
have an iPhone album that's like just for B-roll, but ask me
Smart.
how many times I have like filmed this. I'm like, wait, where did I put that? You
Yeah.
dummy. Like, put it in your folder. So yeah, like I said, I just think too many people try to do it all themselves and then wonder why they're burnt out.
Right.
And I've run into this. This is not a marketing tip, but I hope this is like good to be like, and in closing, you remember Clueless, the movie?
Of course.
And
yeah.
in conclusion, when she's giving her speech, I haven't been on my acupuncturist schedule. I was going weekly. It's a whole other story. And I love her dearly, but she's been so stressed out every visit that I'm like, I literally felt worse the last 2 visits because I think I was like taking on her
Interesting.
energy.
I've heard of that happening, actually, like locally.
And I
there.
love her. She's
Yeah.
so good. Like, she's legit. And
Yeah.
I was like, and so I finally, in my message to her, I was like, let me know when you're less stressed and I'll get back on the schedule. And I hope that kind of was enough to be like, I'm coming here to relax.
Right.
And when you're like, oh, I've got this to do and I've got this to do and I've got this to do and I've got this to do, that your patients feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you delegate in your social media is probably like a very easy button thing to get off your plate.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a good reminder that the energy that we bring to the office is sort of contagious, right?
Oh, and like I said, I love her and it's my fault. Like, I always ask, I'm like, how are you doing? You know, I know her dad's had cancer. You know what I mean? So I've been
Right.
like, because I love her, I want to know. But then while I'm being treated, I go into fixing mode. I'm like, okay, what can I do to help her? And I'm like, no, like, I'm trying to sit out.
Nothing is the answer. In this moment, there is nothing I can do to help her.
And she'll always come back in. Did you relax? I'm like, well, I was trying to solve your problems in my head the whole time. I was like, it's probably just my personality. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like a helper, people pleaser type. But I just hope that's a good reminder for everybody to end on.
I need a patient like you who solves my problems while they're napping, and then I go like sanitize cups and come back, and I'm like, okay, great. What'd you come up with?
Yeah, that would be a trade. You don't have to pay for today's service. I'm just going to.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I do have one more question for you,
Yeah.
and I ask everyone this question. What is your definition of success?
Oh, I was just having this chat this morning with my business coach. I was like, okay, I want to get to this number of sales of my program every month with a caveat. I want to work less and still get to that number.
Super.
So my goal this summer is to, I have an 8-year-old, and my goal this summer is to be done by lunch. I went to Social Media Marketing World recently, this conference, and there's this guy, what was his name? Jerry Potter, which I thought was hilarious because I was like, Harry Potter. So his name is Jerry Potter. I was like, what is his name? I knew it was catchy. And his business name is Done by Lunch. And I was like,
Love it.
dude, that is what a great niche. I'm bought in. I want whatever you're selling. And I think it's specifically as women. So Michelle, let me know if you can see yourself reflected in this. It's like, my goal isn't just to be done by lunch. My goal is to be at peace with being done with my work by lunch.
Yes.
So I can log out all day long, right? But then my brain is still like, well, Molly, you should go finish that thing. You should be working on, if I just get X, then I will feel Y. So My goal is to, yes, have this certain revenue goal, but to step off of that hedonic treadmill while I'm reaching that goal, and to be able to have the afternoons to just do whatever with my kiddo this summer.
Yes, I definitely resonate with that because anytime that I am not working or thinking about work, I am feeling guilty about work.
And then when you're working, you're like, oh, I should be cleaning. I should be doing the dishes.
That's so funny you say that. Yes. I'm like spring cleaning. I'm like, okay, this weekend, all I'm doing is spring cleaning and I do not even need to open my computer. I have permission. I'm like, wait, but I don't know. Spring cleaning still feels an awful lot like work.
So yeah, like I said,
different
my
kind.
definition of success is what I've really been working on with my coaches, just being at peace and content and not constantly thinking of like having that guilt piece of like, oh, I should be doing something else. That is success.
Well, thank you again so much for being here and sharing so many good tips. I hope people were taking notes. Where can everyone connect with you, or where can we find you online?
Very active on Instagram. My handle is Molly A. Cahill, and that's Cahill. You can imagine anytime I go to a restaurant, they're like, last name? I'm like, no, it's C-A-H. Nobody can spell it right. I love chatting with people in my DMs, so just send me a DM. I won't think you're weird or whatever. Like, I love having those chats. I have a ton of free content over on my podcast, Holistic Marketing Simplified, which Michelle's going to be on, which I'm very excited about.
Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, those are two really great places to learn more, and yeah, I'd be happy to say hello.
And I will put all the links for that in the show notes so everyone can find them easily. Thank you so much. Molly has also offered a discount code for her online marketing program, the Holistic Marketing Hub, where she teaches you to use Instagram effectively as a healthcare provider to get more patients. The code is AMS and it's for $200 off. The Holistic Marketing Hub also includes a content library with a social media post bank with over 500 captions for chiropractors and acupuncturists, plus monthly coaching calls and support. So if you want to take a look at that, the link and the discount code are also in the show notes. Don't forget to check out our sponsor, Fair Wholesale. If you're looking to add aligned retail income to your clinic, Fair makes it simple, with low or no order minimums, 60-day payment terms, and free returns on your first order with any brand. You can even filter by your values like organic, handmade, and not sold on Amazon. Check out the show notes for the link and start exploring today.